Hello, comics people. What's up? It's Michael. Hello. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit about freestyle in a comic. Totally winging it. Well, not totally winging it, I guess. Kind of partially winging it. Winging it with a loose idea and just drawing the thing straight with pen right onto the paper. No silliness. No funny business. No middle people. Before I do that, though, I wanted to take a quick moment to hype up our new Patreon. We are trying to raise some scratch to improve the show. Not trying to make any money really for ourselves. Mostly what we want to do is give it back to the show, right? Give it back to the community, give it back to the people. It's called Comics People. There's a lot of comics people out there. And so we have a Patreon going, and we're going to keep it rolling. We're not going to be, those people who say, here's our Patreon, and then every 6 months we send an email that says, like, sorry, it's been so long. We're going to keep it real. We're going to keep it true, and we are people of our word. So check it out if you have a chance. There's, I think, one welcome post and one quick little preview of ATP2, but we're gonna roll stuff on there pretty regularly. We're really trying to reduce anything from the Zuckerverse, because billionaires shouldn't exist, and don't want to put any money in that clown's pockets. And the place is just pretty saturated. There's a lot of nonsense going on there, and seems just like it's become kind of a terrible platform. So we're kind of shifting over to Patreon. If you like following our artwork individually, we are going to start posting more of that on Patreon and less of that on Instagram. So that'll be kind of the place to keep up with our work. We've got a bunch of different tiers. It's pretty low stakes for entry. If you want to just kind of keep track of what we've been up to, you can do that. And then at the higher tiers, we start sending out comics and prints and stuff like that. We've had some interest in audio only versions of the episodes if people are driving or listening in their cars or on the way somewhere that they can't watch the whole episode. So those will be on there. The Patreon has a great audio hosting platform. So if you're interested in that, there's a bunch of different options there. Should be suitable for everybody, we hope. And if there's anything you really want to see, let us know, and we'll try to get it on there. So Patreon, Comics People, give it a shot, give it a gander, and we hope to see you over there. So for today, I want to talk a little bit about this quick little project I did last week. Ben at Atomic Books, shout out to Ben and Rachel at Atomic Books in Baltimore, reached out to me very kindly and asked if I wanted to do a short comic, 1 to 2 pages, for their Mutant anthology. They put out this comic called Mutant, and they've got a bunch of issues out already, and it's just a compilation, kind of political, but also really anything involving this idea of the mutant. And so I wanted to do one about mutant cops and mutant police officers, because these are this is a profession I don't respect, and I think that this was a good topic for something that has kind of mutated and shifted over time, and certainly my perspective on it has definitely. So I thought this might be a good topic for this kind of idea of freestyling the comic. So I had a sort of loose idea in mind. I was like, what is a type of person, a topical subject that I think could relate to being a mutant? And my first thought was maybe it's a police officer who joins the force and has some kind of interest in cleaning up the town, whatever that means to him. And so he's being interviewed by this mutant, and then he says, what makes you want to join the force? I feel it's my duty to protect my fellow man. Gets the job, and then the idea was that people keep asking him for more and more mundane tasks, and that kind of turns him into a mutant. So that he gets out there, and then almost immediately this lady is like, where's the bathroom? Can you give me directions? And he's just ready to like blast people and shoot. But the more I thought about it, the more I was like, I just really don't, it doesn't really say what I wanted to say, and I just didn't think it was a very good idea. I got really frustrated. But the nice thing about this was I was just drawing it in pen, and so even though I did spend probably an hour and a half on this, that if I had penciled it and then inked it, I probably would have spent a lot more time on it. But if I had penciled it, I might have gotten to this conclusion a little sooner. So I don't know. I just felt like that wasn't really saying what I wanted to say. I don't believe that it's people that make police mutants, or useless people standing in front of buildings scrolling on their phones. I think that's sort of just like built into their nature and attracts a certain type of person. But we'll save that for another episode. Anyway, so I thought a better idea, and I don't want to show this whole thing because the comic's not out yet, but I thought something kind of slightly more on track was I pulled some facts and some information from the ACLU website, and then dropped some of the text in here, kind of edited it very slightly, dropped the text in here into the narration boxes, and then just started drawing these kind of mutant cops, which was really fun. And there's a certain kind of quality that you get, I think, when you draw with just pen. I think I mentioned on a previous episode that I think the quickest way to like level up or kind of improve the way that you want to draw, not to draw good or bad, but to improve the way you draw, is to draw with pen right on paper, because I think it forces you to pay just a little bit closer attention to what you're doing. It really takes away your ability to edit or to, overwork something, because once you put that line down, it's just done. And I think this pairs especially well with hatching and rendering. And I left this kind of partially blank, partly because I got annoyed with it, but also because I think it's kind of interesting to see, to me, these drawings to me are really like bad. Like I look at these and I don't like these drawings, but I didn't really like these drawings either until I started hatching them and filling them in. And there's a thing we've talked about on the show before, which is like a pretty rough drawing that's been really heavily rendered. Like you take your just sort of first primary idea and then you turn that into something that is really heavily textured and heavily kind of brought to life. It gives it a lot of depth. And there's something really fascinating about that kind of raw spontaneity of the pen drawing that gets combined with this really laborious type of hatching or rendering or whatever you want to call it. And so I thought that was really fun. And so I just kind of went for it with this one. Now, I've spent a lot of time just drawing with pen. That's really one of my favorite things to do. And I really highly recommend it. So if you're interested in making comics like this, it can seem really daunting to just kind of put a pen down. And I know comics especially a lot of times have this reputation for having like a specific process. Like you need to pencil it first, and then you need to ink it very carefully, and then you need to go in with the details. And I do that too. And I just finished 36 pages of this comic that I spent almost a year and 3 months on. But by the end I didn't really enjoy it that much. Once I was getting to the last like 10 pages, the inking process was really like, I kind of dreaded going back to it because of the precision, because of the focus that it demands. And so inking with a pen just loosely, to me, even though it might seem sort of intimidating, what if it doesn't look good? What if I waste my time? What if this happens? That's okay. You can always get rid of it and start over again. And like I said, if you're just drawing with a pen, you haven't really spent all that much time, right? You spend less time than you would have otherwise, probably. That being said, I did have sort of a loose idea of what I wanted to do with this, but working with that extra text and kind of pulling that in there made this really satisfying. So I recommend it. So what I'm going to do today is, I think I'm just going to make something on the spot. I'm going to see how this goes. Now, what I did was I took some recommendations from people on Instagram today from both of our accounts. We're obviously still using Instagram, and we are also shouting out people's accounts on Instagram because we're trying to get some attention on other people. But I'm hoping that participating in this charge to kind of move our artwork elsewhere, hopefully we all kind of catch on. And if you're a developer out there, a programmer, please, for the love of anything, make something better than Instagram and make it work. So anyway, I reached out for some suggestions of prompts, and I thought it'd might be fun to just kind of freestyle a comic today, similar to like an improv show, or if you ever see like a rap battle or something, sometimes they reach out to the audience and say like, give us a word or give us a phrase or something like that, and we'll work it into the thing. So I got a bunch of words and a bunch of suggestions, and I'm just going to kind of work them in to a comic here and just kind of see what happens. So hopefully this is enjoyable to you, and let's do it. freestyle comic based on your suggestions. I like it. I don't know. I've never done this before with someone else's suggestions, and I think this is actually pretty fun. It's a great opportunity to play with the form. I liked, anytime you kind of mess something up, you kind of have to turn it into something else. So I like that. I felt like this is going over too far. I wasn't sure where to put the words. So just have it overlap. I don't know. These are things I wouldn't do naturally. And if I was sketching it out with pencil, I wouldn't have done that. But I don't know. When you have the pen down, you just kind of start to really pay attention to these little details. And I think it invites some other little ideas that might come that you wouldn't get otherwise, trying to erase and perfect everything. You just kind of go with it and see what happens. I gotta say, I really like these conjoined monkey machete twins. So I hope this was interesting in some way. We're definitely going to talk more about this in the future. And I highly recommend just drawing with pens. Go to an art shop, find some pens that look interesting, ask for recommendations, talk to people, pick some different colors, pick some different tips, find some waterproof ones, find some smudgy ones, and just test them out, see what you like. All right, this has been Michael Shea for Comics People, signing off. Toodles.